the river wide, underneath the watchful sky.
Greetings, and welcome to GatherVerse AI Evolved Day 2. We're coming off the heels of an incredible and, powerful, to be candid, discussion and series of expressions yesterday in our GatherVerse AI Evolved Day 1. We certainly do greet all of you that have come to join us again at GatherVerse.live and at our various social platforms such as YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and more. This is our 24th Global GatherVerse event, where we've had speakers from around the world to express and share on a number of different topics that lead to accessibility and education, equality, community and development, safety, privacy, wellness, ethics, and more. And it's at that intersection that we meet emerging technologies such as the metaverse, artificial intelligence, spatial intelligence, frontier intelligence, and more. We're now in an unprecedented time where technology is moving at an accelerated clip. And some would say what happens when the technology becomes more advanced than the technologist. But here at GatherVerse, we don't lead first with technology. And not every speaker that we have with us is an expert in technology. But we lead here with humanity first. Because what we believe at GatherVerse is that when it comes to innovation and technology, people, human betterment, social sustainability, and global impact for good matters more than profit, than big business, and only opportunity. We're not against people enjoying in those things and successes of their labors, but certainly not at the behest and the behalf of global civilization. We think about our generations to come as we're a multi-generational platform. We welcome and invite everyone here, no matter the color, no matter the gender. You'll always have a place here at GatherVerse at our 24th global event. And for our next roundtable discussion, we have a powerhouse of a dynamic assortment of incredible leaders, incredible hearts to be able to join with us as this event will carry on quickly, and then it will be done. It will be gone. We ask that you share this. And for those that are already broadcasting in your offices and living rooms, with your families, your loved ones, yourself, you're with us. We're gathering. We're here, transmetropolitan and transcontinental. We've arrived. And the only way is forward. We ask that you share this with those who may not know about GatherVerse. Come as you are, we greet you all the same. And on a special note, I'd be remiss that here where I'm at in the United States is the anniversary of a day that we call 9/11. That is a day of infamy when a terrible tragedy happened in this country many years ago that was senseless. Thousands of women and men were murdered But I say this not only in the 9/11 vertical, but also thinking about all the tragedies and the senseless things that are happening around the world. Our hearts are with you. May we have a moment of peace for all of you that are suffering in this world tonight. GatherVerse is not past the insensibilities, that this is not just your ordinary and standard event platform. Here we care, and these things are important to say. We want hope and prosperity and wellness for everyone. And we want to be able to leave our children with something better than what we found, if possible. We thank you for joining with us, and we look forward to exploring and to gathering in the events to come as we continue to move on, as we move forward. What does this mean in the world of AI, education, and the workforce, and new opportunities that present themselves? We're about to find out. May our gather be well.
Hello and welcome to day 2 of GatherVerse AI Evolve. I'm Russell Bundy. I'm the moderator for this amazing panel and lineup we have today. And on this roundtable, we're going to be discussing the AI's impact, turning job loss into opportunities for world healing. And I'm like I said, I'm here with many amazing ladies and gentlemen here on the panel, as you can see, all of them lined up. So I'm gonna stop talking because I want to introduce everyone here. So what I want to do is go around to every single person on the panel. If you can do a quick 30-second introduction each, and then we'll get right into the questions because we have so much to discuss and so many questions to ask. So without further ado, we'll start with Sabrina. And also, if everyone could just mute their microphones so that we don't have any sort of like feedback or audio interference or anything like that, that'd be much appreciated as well. So Sabrina, we'll start with you. And Stefania, if you could mute your microphone as well, that'd be much appreciated.
Hi everyone, so my name is Sabrina. I am the founder of People's Inc. I also run multiple other ventures like my Dream Academy and Royal Visionary Society, and I'm also a member of the Association Blockchain Asia as well as AI Visionary Society. So I'm very in tune with the AI education and technology space.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Sabrina, today. Elizabeth, we'll go over to you next. Quick 30-second introduction from yourself.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth. I'm the founder of Future Thinkers Academy. I'm an educator, a speaker. I'm also a curator of what I call the life curriculum. It's about going back to nature and respecting the flowing nature of things.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That was very quick. I like that. Stefania, over to you. 30-second introduction from yourself.
Hi, Russell, and hi, everyone. My name is Stefania Brunori, and I'm supporting leaders that have a purpose to have a social impact by increasing their visibility through their personal brand, always with a holistic type of leadership in mind. So that's basically what I do and the impact that I want to bring on the table.
Amazing. And I look forward to sending some questions over to your way. I'm sure there's some introductions that we can have on the marketing side. Jared, welcome. 30-second introduction from yourself, and welcome back again. It's good to see you again.
You too, bro. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jared Arms, founder of Kyler.io coin, which is a token on the Ethereum blockchain. We have about 5 contracts up from like escrow, staking. We have a chat system, direct message system. So trying to expand cryptocurrency and just teach more students around the country about it. And then we also have another company called ActGPT, which is a decentralized AI agent built on top of ChatGPT-4. So today I'm just interested in connecting with you all just to learn more and share my expertise in ways I could possibly help out.
Thank you for joining us once again, Jared. Lynn, over to yourself. 30-second introduction. Hi.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I am a former aerospace engineer turned spiritual guide and energy worker and creator of the Purpose Embodiment Method. And I use AI pretty extensively just as an entrepreneur. So the day-to-day making my life easier. And I have a lot of interesting theories on as a spiritual guide, as AI as an extension of our infinite intelligence and this higher source. So I'm excited to tap into that
Okay.
for world healing.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Lynn. Chloe, over to you. 30-second introduction from yourself.
Hi, everyone. I think this is great round of speakers here. I'm super honored to be here. My name is Chloe, and people also know me as Arigato Investor. And I coach people from different parts of the world how to integrate AI with their investing system so that they can learn how to profit from the stock market safely. So really looking forward. I'm also one of the founding member of the AI Visionary Society together with Sabrina. So looking forward to learn from every single one of you. Yes.
Amazing, Chloe. Thank you for joining us. Mazni, welcome.
Yes, hi. It's good evening here or this part of the world, and I think it's good morning to all of you. I am Masni Go, the founder of mindcoach.sg. I am an empowerment coach and speaker. I am dedicated to fostering emotional well-being and mental resilience. However, I'm passionate about the ethical integration of AI for enhancing human experience. So I explore how technology can be a tool for mental and emotional well-being.
That's very interesting. Thank you for joining us, Mazni. And
Thank you.
last but not least, Andrea, welcome.
Hey Russell, good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Really happy to be here with this amazing group of people. I hope we learn a lot from each other today. My name is Andrea Camargo. I am from Bogota, Colombia. I am the founder and scientific director of Refi Collective, where we integrate technology, blockchain, and different nature-based solutions with different way of doing business so that enterprises, corporations, organizations can do the transition towards a more regenerative economy.
Oh, very interesting as well, Andrea. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's get straight into the questions because we have much to discuss. So the first question we have up for this amazing panel is how can AI job displacement be reframed as an opportunity for global transformation? This is a very interesting question, and I think we'll start with Chloe on this one. Do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I think like instead of seeing AI as taking away jobs, we can actually see it as a way to actually free up more people to do different kind of job. So as an investor, I always look at companies, like what kind of companies are, what initiative is company doing to allow AI to be more productive, right? So for example, Amazon, right? They have automated the entire warehouse processes with robots. So instead of humans doing the manual job, right now, humans are being freed up to do more human kind of things, like for example, customer service, for example, logistics, tech. So that's how, because of AI, more jobs are actually being created. So more opportunities like that, I can see that a lot of companies are actually heading towards that direction. So I think as an investor or even as like people who are interested in AI in general, it's good to look into those companies and see what kind of opportunities out there as potential form of investment as well.
That's very interesting. Very interesting perspective. I didn't expect that actually. So yeah, I think we'll bring someone else into this discussion as well because there might be some counters against that. So I want to we'll bring Jared into this. Jared, what are your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I actually agree with everything she was saying. We're in the process of creating like different AI agents that can help people create even more agents that can do the job for them. So in a funny example, like a couple of days ago, we created this agent. It's an automated bot. So, if people are sending things to AI, it's usually like a manual thing. You send a prompt, get a response back. But to be able to have the prompt running consistently with it autonomously, created like 1,000 agents that can create 1,000,000 agents. And the moment that they birth each other, they have to have a name, a job description, report to each other and things like that. And just watching something like that run for hours, it can enable a lot of opportunities for new ideas for people to do in ways that they never thought. So I think using AI, especially AI agents, can help create a lot of just future plans for new opportunities for job development.
For sure, for sure. And I liked your comment there, Chloe. AI visionary society smiley face. Also, One Way AI is very amazing. And also, Lynn says a great lineup of speakers. I absolutely agree with that, Lynn. Oh, and Cecilia just messaged, says hi from Florence, Italy. Hello, Cecilia. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's get into the next question, which is how can governments and organizations collaborate to transform job loss into global progress? So obviously we just had a discussion about investing and how it's creating more job opportunities. So we'll switch up a little bit with this question. We'll bring Andrea into this. And then I also want to go over to Lynn because I'm interested to hear your perspective as well, Lynn. So Andrea, what are your thoughts on this question? How can governments and organizations collaborate to transform job loss into global progress?
Well, I really like this question because it taps into the progress narrative, and this is a very interesting perspective we have from different points of view, right? Usually, all the economic perspective of progress or narrative is up to create more wealth, more economic growth, infinitely. You know, we just go to the stars and we don't want to go back. But we're doing this in a limited planet, limited carrying capacity. So if you look at the whole system and you understand that this carrying capacity can be limited or resources could be limited, well, the narrative of progress is more towards well-being and how wellness and having fun in what you do, not creating jobs, but creating work that you love and that enhance the wellness and well-being of humans, but also of the planet. I think that should be the narrative of progress that all governments and organizations should look at.
It's very interesting because, like, it kind of makes me think: can everyone do their job though that they love, right? Like, can everyone actually have the opportunity? And obviously, I think it's given opportunities a lot more for people to be able to do what they love. But can everyone in the world be able to do that? Like, that's kind of like a sort of a question that I have in my mind right now. Just like, But anyway, I don't want to kind of just steer off the topic of conversation. So Lynn, I'll bring you on this conversation as well. How can governments and organizations collaborate to transform job loss into global progress?
Well, I want to read a quote from Buckminster Fuller because that's probably going to most best describe. So we should do away with the absolutely specious notion that everyone has to earn a living. It is a fact today that 1 in 10,000 of us can make a technological breakthrough capable of supporting the rest. There's a bunch more, but I'll leave it at that. And so the idea is, I had this AI is a pattern interrupt. It's a shift in consciousness. And I had something like that happen to me, but it was a spiritual awakening. But it caused me to leave my job. And as a result of that, I uncovered gifts that I never imagined. I have an aerial studio now. I teach kids fire spinning. The idea is that we all have a gift inside of us. And I'm a spiritual guide to scientifically minded thinkers. So nothing that I did along the way was lost. And so how do we work with governments and organizations? It's about letting some people be free. For example, getting rid of this notion that we all need to have a job. If AI can take up a lot of the jobs, maybe we really can get this universal basic income. And that doesn't mean nobody has to work anymore, but we can go down to our 25-hour work week and have some freedom. And so we just have to let the governments and the organizations understand that they don't need us. We don't need to be their slaves anymore. We can all be free. They can have their profit margin and we can have our time. And we will find that the gifts that are dormant within us that are not currently valued are going to be valued multiple times because everybody wants this heart awakening. They just don't know it yet.
That's very interesting because I remember seeing a video about Mark Cuban, and he said that some of the jobs that will be even more needed as we go forward is, like, for example, was it the professor of like art, stuff like that, like artistic kind of sort of expression kind of stuff. And he said something about a different professor as well. Like I think it's like professor of English or stuff like that, right? Which you can't sort of replicate or replace as easily. And obviously that connectivity. So I thought that was very interesting how Mark Cuban said that. And it's kind of like what you're saying as well. And I do really agree with the universal credit. I saw a lot of heads nodding as the universal credit was being discussed. I mean, Chloe was, Stefania was, Elizabeth was, Jared was. So there's a lot of kind of a cross agreement on that standpoint. So is there anything you want to add quickly before we go to the next question?
Just that I do believe that is coming for us. When is they got stuff to hash out up there, but it is coming. We have a divine birthright to be happy, healthy, and free. And that's what AI can do, is bring us freedom. If we train it correctly, right? But we have to get our minds right first, because we are the creators of it. So it's going to take on our consciousness. So if we're creating AI from a place of lack and fear, that's where things can run awry, which is why I popped in here.
I just wanted to jump in because One Way AI says, so lovely, Lynn, freedom. That's what she says. She agrees with you on the points you're making. Also, Naha says, so important to understand AI as it will affect the students that I teach STEM. They are definitely our future and need to know what opportunities are and will be available for them. So yeah. Okay, next question, which is what role could reskilling play? I think I've read that wrong then. What role could reskilling play in the transforming displaced workers into world changers? So this is where, Stefania, I can see you nodding your head, so we'll bring you on this one.
Yes, thank you for passing that question to me, because I'm really passionate about this and taking AI to the service of humanity and not the other way around. That is where the main fear is coming. AI is coming to remove our jobs. No, we are the owners, and it has to be to the service. There is an statistics that by the year around 2030, 80% of the departments in the companies will have at least one remote worker. Okay, so that means that the opportunities worldwide are going to increase. And there is a study by the World Bank where they are saying definitely that reskilling programs can help the displaced workers and give more opportunities worldwide. So in the moment that we will realize and work towards that direction of using AI in an ethical manner and as a way to bring more inclusion, of course, and more balance, as someone mentioned already, I think it was Lynn. So it's not about using AI to make only a little group of people more wealthy, but really to redistribute the wealth and to include those that now don't have access. So I think there is a huge opportunity. Of course, there are going to be some jobs that will be removed and lost, but it is on us to bring this transformation in a way that there will be better distribution of working hours. So people working less hours that can be translated into more people working as well and having a better balance for that. And definitely in coming back to the question and focusing on displaced workers, we can see that the transformation is being that now there is a big window worldwide. So the more we bring the technology, such it has been with the mobiles in places where they didn't have access to know what was going on in the other side of the world, with AI is going to be the same. And linking with the previous question, this needs to be embedded 100% in the political, economical decisions in the governments.
Yeah, definitely regulations are very important. And I also believe as well that eventually there's going to be a lot more entrepreneurs and freelancers and everything like that as well, because they've been freed up. And Sabrina, I see you nodding your head throughout Stefania's message there. So do you want to jump in on this as well?
Sure. Actually, it's very interesting because actually Chloe and I actually did a podcast regarding this. So my company, we actually have over like 150 manpower, and we are actually from anywhere kind of company. So how the structure is being done is that every employee in the company, right, they are actually given like AI tools for them to actually use to actually reduce the number of hours they need to take to actually repeat their tasks. So it actually reduces how much time they need to spend doing a task quite significantly. And during the podcast, we actually discussed like how significant this can be. Like doing a marketing report now actually requires like a tenth of the time as compared to previously when we actually needed to generate such a report. And also on top of that, right, because generally people work like 8 hours a day, correct?
Yeah.
So in our company, because we have a very task or rather quest-based kind of culture, so it's a big game fight in that sense.
Okay.
So you can actually, as long as you kind of like finish your tasks, you can actually move on to do something else. So we actually have like a gig economy within our structure itself. So once you're done with your main tasks, you can actually go to the gig economy and kind of like pick up quests. So we actually encourage our employees to actually like side hustle within the company itself. And
that's interesting.
During our town halls, right, we can kind of like showcase employees that like uses AI to kind of like enhance their productivity, and also how they actually increase their own base income. Like we have an employee that is operation based, not sales based, operation based, that actually tripled her salary just by focusing on like getting her tasks done faster and participating more in the gig economy.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. I really do like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're talking about like the reskilling portion of things, I think that using like AI into the structure of your organization to actually help the employees to speed up their work, that actually gives that freedom that you're actually looking for. So you don't really need to like go out to like find an additional opportunity, but within the organization you can actually give these opportunities to your employees, and that actually also helps to retain these employees in the organization.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that, Sabrina. And yeah, I agree with that so much, actually. As an entrepreneur myself, I can completely relate with my company and everything. We've actually got a few more comments coming in as well. William Jackson says the education systems of the world need to be distractedly changed to accommodate the new learning needs of creativity, innovation, imagination, and discovery. Daniela says perfectly said. Sheridan says, I agree with the idea of democratization. We saw that in the computing, mainframes, minis, workstations, PCs, phones. And One Way AI says, town halls are so interesting. They actually are. I do like town halls. Okay, how can AI... so the next question is, how can AI facilitate transitions, promote... Hang on. How can AI facilitated transitions promote social cohesion and reduce inequality? So I think we'll bring in Elizabeth on this one, and we'll also bring in Masni on this one. So Elizabeth, over to you.
Okay. For me, well, I'll talk about me. I find AI, or rather technology itself, is very flexible, especially when we are connected now internationally, like what we are doing now. In the past, I mean, given my age, in the past, it's barely impossible. We're going to wait for a phone call or whatever. But now it's like literally seamless. And especially for a creative person, for me, it's like I no longer need to find materials that are what I call printed. Digital information is great, and for education is also great. And I also feel that we really need to change the school system, as you comment. Should we keep holding people into one location, or we just you can have different teachers from different countries coming in and teaching and just using AI, whatever. And I don't feel that there's any more need for us to be constrained and contained in the place. We are so diverse now. Like my daughter is working with a company that she can literally travel and work at the same time. I was like, wow, it was impossible for me. Things have changed so much. So, it's like,
please continue. Finish.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. So I think that, especially for me, I'm advocating what they call going back to nature, and the office we no longer need to be in a building, an office. We can actually move our work back to nature. I'm also advocating human, so-called going back to nature, relax, less stress, and all this AI can really help us, help us to do the difficult work while we try to reconnect back to ourselves and things of nature.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think actually with the campuses that we had the discussion yesterday on, where they were saying about building advanced campuses, but also with in the middle of it all, of course, and integrated with it all is the nature side, right? And allowing people to be able to not stop staring at screens for like 10 hours and go outside and go, right, let me just relax and have a nice time, and let's just chill and sit on the bench and watch the birds tweet and stuff like that.
Something like that. I mean, we don't really need a campus. The word is out there. Just go out and do your work. No more stay in the building.
Yeah. But no, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that. And we actually have to move on to the next question because we're actually running out of time. I just got a message. So how can communities harness empathy to connect displaced workers with new opportunities? So we'll hand this one over to Masni. So Masni, welcome. There's your question.
Yeah, I would reckon that community support is really important, and local organizations may play a big part, like facilitating mentorship programs and that pairs experienced professionals with those who have lost their jobs. So I think this will not only help individuals to navigate their career transitions and also foster a sense of belonging and support with the community. So I think this involves a lot with empathetic engagement and can lead to, in fact, more innovative solutions for to address local needs. Yeah, so that's how I feel that it is how we can harness empathy to connect with the displaced workers.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important in allowing people to have new opportunities, because otherwise, if we're not empathetic to each other, then I mean, are we even human at that point? Like, I mean, empathy is one of the biggest, things which people have. And, I have empathy for you, you have empathy for me. So I really think it's definitely important. And I would like to hear Chloe's point on this as well, because I'm curious to see what you have to say on this as well, Chloe.
Sure. I as much as I know, and we all agree, empathy is important. But I think there's one more very, very important thing that really just underpin every human psychology, and that is called incentive, right? One of my greatest hero in terms of the investing world, his name is Charlie Munger. And Munger, he has this famous quote. He said, "Show me the incentive, and I will show you the outcome." So why am I bringing this word incentive is because, like, if you think about how Sabrina, like, she runs her own company, as much as she shows a lot of empathy, like, she actually gives so many opportunities for her workers, for her employees to level up, upscale, and then increase their income, right? But at the end of the day, why is it that these employees are motivated? It's because they have all the incentives to do so. Right. So imagine if we are able to just build businesses, use AI to help us to not just being more productive, but helping us to really build the business model that incentivize our employees or incentivize business owners to or the employees to take charge. That's how I think AI can really help to make the entire world a lot more, not just productive, but I think a lot more prosperous as well.
That was fire. That was fire. I completely agree, 150% if I could possibly agree with that much. Incentives are very underrated and so important. And as we saw, like you said, in Sabrina's use case with her internal processes and her system and what she does, absolutely. I can see how it does, we're getting a lot of claps, by the way, on YouTube. Jared has put clap emojis. One Way AI put clap emojis. Wishborn says, so true. Great questions, topics, and insights from Manning. And One Way AI says, very Web3 incentive thinking. Yep. Obviously, talking about gamification here from a reward token standpoint. So absolutely, Chloe, I agree with that 110%. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for the question as well.
Okay, next question is, how can we build a future where AI and human effort contribute to the well-being of all? This is a very important question. And Stefania, I can see you nodding again. And so we'll bring you on this one. And then also, Jared, I would love to hear your perspective on this one as well. So over to you, Stefania.
I think I cannot hide my personality, my nationality. Being a Spanish Italian, I'm super expressive, so you can immediately notice when
yes,
I am
yes.
on fire with a question. And the reason why I was nodding on that is because, yes, I mean, incentive is really important. And there are also studies and statistics that show that more than half of the new generations would even consider to have a pay cut if they work in a company that helps them develop their purpose, or a company that already has a purpose. At the end of the day, when we are working, it was at the beginning of the talk, asking, can we all work in something that we like? I do believe that, yes, we can work in something that we like and we are skilled for. Okay. We would like all to be opera singers and we don't have the skill, right? And I do believe that when we are working in our purpose, we are happier and we bring better results as well. Now, how can we implement that in the organizations? It starts by the leadership. As much as we as workers want to do that, it has to start by a leadership that really believes and executes the idea of bringing together work, effort, profit, and purpose, because all of them can work together. And when that is the direction, the well-being of everyone, it will be a consequence of that. What it cannot happen is if we are working in something that we don't like, we are not passionate about, and we are not skilled. It's very difficult. And again, it comes back to the leadership. So the people on the top are the ones that really need to get transformed on that. And then the organizations will be healthier and more productive and happier.
Right. I'm lost for words because I think you're actually bang on, smack on with what you're saying. And I think adding also potentially the incentive on top of that and doing what you're saying, that combo of both, that would be like out of this world kind of thing. So yeah, thank you very much, Stefania, for sharing that. And Jared, I want to bring you on this because I'm interested to hear your perspective on this. I know you very well, so please do share your perspective.
Yeah, I guess from like a developer standpoint, I know a lot of companies are like blocked in different countries and things like that. I know ChatGPT just blocked their services from China, I believe. I'm not sure if they opened up new firewalls or something, but I know when we're trying to thinking local and building global, we starting to have like users in different countries, like that may just not be as friendly to our leaders. So for me personally, just from a developer standpoint, I think if we can work with governments, companies and governments working together, sharing resources, creating more opportunities and having more structured plans, that would probably be like the best one. Because if the countries, even though they can't regulate it all to a degree, but if they can at least try to come together and build new bridges, just starting from the top and then working from the bottom, the governments and the corporations working together, or just companies in general, it could be foundations, but them coming together, creating new opportunities and sharing resources. For an example, like we starting to have like more people, say like in Russia, China, Japan, starting to use our platform in ways that they may not be able to access different business owners, but these people still need access to resources that we may need from people in different countries and things like that. When we're talking about having opportunities where people can all accept, like if people are interested in moving, like decentralizing the AI on Web3 and up, being able to, just language, translation, all of these type of things like that, as far as like AI and blockchain coming together. That's one thing I'm looking at, like some of the people on the frontier of AI talking about, how can we help people decentralize this AI so they can not just access it, but own it, But again, just to shorten the answer, I think just governments and companies working together, sharing resources, creating new opportunities could help out. But what we're trying to do, I think it's a good thing too to also try to bring some of these technologies together, because each year they say it was metaverse and then it was blockchain, now it's AI and and they got documents and speeches going back to like 1963 about people talking about neural networks and things like that. So it's not been consistently around far as this new age of AI, but this talks and development been out for quite some time. So, putting it all together, going up under the IoT, Internet of Things. Now they got AOT, Agent of Things, BOT, and trying to push it like as a collective to see. I know how I can get to talking, but in
Hey,
short,
Jared.
to see these people in China, in Japan, and Russia, alone from like the countries I like specifically trying to connect with throughout Africa, I think that we
Sure.
can build new bridges with AI long as we try to just follow the rules like that, to say the least.
I think it's definitely like a collaboration, right? It's a cohesion of governments, organizations, businesses, leaders, etc. Right? It has to be a mixture of everybody, and you have to come together in a community factor. If you don't do that, right, then AI will mostly have, you've only got to have one bad character creating some sort of AI thing, and that's it. It's blown up. Someone's gone away with it, and the next thing you know it, robots are taking over the earth. And I hope that never happens, by the way. But we don't want these bad sort of people, doing that. And obviously, I think Mark Zuckerberg had a very interesting conversation, which I watched the other day, where he's saying about open source and saying why open source is so much better than closed source, right? And that's saying basically, if it has open source, the community can all collaborate on it, and it can, they can sort of get out bad characters very quickly. So
let me ping in one thing on that, just for people on the developer side, especially the students who may be watching. That is cool. Just because it's free to a degree, like candy on Halloween, don't mean it doesn't have dangers within it. Within Llama's open source project, you can pay for a certain access to remove certain securities, which can be used for very dangerous things. So that's just something to be aware of when you promoting stuff like that, even though we can't prevent people from purchasing it. But I think even open source platforms who do not allow people to pay to remove the securities, I think that's the one that we should probably be focusing on a little bit more for this type of platform.
For sure, Jared. Thank you very much for sharing that and for informing everyone. Lynn, we're going to have to jump on to the next question, but I can fire the next question at you, if that's all right. And also, there's a lot of comments coming in as well. I'm just going to quickly read some. Daniela says, so important, now possible. One Way AI says, Stefania, woo! Jared says, great moderating too. Michelle says, this is very positive, forward-thinking conversation. I love it. Majana says, interesting discussion. One Way AI says, absolutely, equality plus equity. And Elizabeth says, not only decentralized, but open, equal opportunities. Lynn, we will jump to you on this question, if that's okay.
I can actually give the same answer, just a different spin. So cross-disciplinary, this is where I bring in energy work. So this is the body is a technology. It has intelligence in it that is largely unharnessed. So when we're thinking about the effort that humans need to make or the technological advances that need to happen, I believe these are inner changes that need to happen. We need to be doing the inner work to elevate our technology so that what we're channeling through is coming. And that's kind of what brought me into this world when we're talking about cross-discipline, bringing in energy work, bringing in spiritual healing, which is non-denominational, because it's really talking about the unified field and the physical body as a collection of atoms made out of 99% empty space, just like everything else in existence. So I think the cross-discipline that needs to be brought in is more of these indigenous. I've studied with shamans. There's so much technology that we don't look at as technology that is out there that has been waiting. It has been begging to be integrated into the West, the East and the West, right? The East was really developed. In comes the West. We kind of take over, and now is a time of balance, right? Both the right and the left wing are part of the same bird. The eagle and the condor prophecies that are coming to be. So I think the disciplines that need to come in are these wellness disciplines and focusing on the technological advancement of our mind and our body through purification.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Kate Carter basically says, "Let's go," to what you were saying there. So Kate Carter's celebrating. All right. Next question: in what ways can displaced workers redefine the concept of meaningful work? We're gonna have to move a bit quicker because we've got about 2 or 3 questions left, and we've got very limited time, less than 10 minutes or something like that. So I'm gonna hand this one over to Andrea, and then we will bring in Masni and then Sabrina after that as well. And if we've got time, I'll bring in some other people too, but we're just going to fire very quickly through these. So, Andrea, over to you. In what ways can displaced workers redefine the concept of meaningful work?
Awesome. I just wanted to have a little comment on what Lynn was saying. I love that connection between spirituality and technology is so evident now. I feel like some years ago nobody was talking about this, and I'm so happy that spaces like this open up the conversation. So thank you, Lynn. And in terms of redefining how we can connect with that meaning inside of us in regenerative development or regenerative design, we focus on the first on the uh, our inner self. Let's say we first regenerate ourselves in order to regenerate our communities, our territories, and then it can also extend to technology, to our work that we do. But it all starts here, and I think it's more about feeling. And sometimes we have this connection between the financial, the investment sector and the impact sector, because there is not such thing as measuring happiness. How can we
That's true.
measure our spirituality? But the numbers come in and they want a number that is going up or down. Impact is going up or down. Happiness is going up or down. So I think part of the redefining the concept of meaningful work is reconnecting with your own self and starting to allow to be the example of how you want to interact with technology, with other human beings, with other non-human beings, because animals are here as well to teach us empathy and love and so much amazing things. I also have these cross-cultural and different, let's say, backgrounds. I studied veterinary medicine, and then I did a master's in international business. So blending all this kind of knowledge is also super important if we want to create more meaningful work in what we do.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you 110%. I think, you should definitely take time out to, rethink exactly, what you want to do and what your expertise is and what you love doing and how you want to go about moving forward. If you are a displaced worker, and I definitely think that's a time to reflect, right? When you do lose your job, or even if you are in a job and you think, oh, it's going to come to an end soon, kind of thing, whatever. Maybe preparing now and going, okay, what can I transition to go to the next job or to the next step that I want to achieve? I think that's important as well. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of add to your point, Andrea. So next question is, how do AI enable transitions, promote social cohesion and reduce inequity? So we'll go over to you, Sabrina, for this, and then we'll go to Masni after. So Sabrina? You need to unmute your microphone. That's it. Lovely job.
Okay, so because I actually thought that I was going to do the next question, but okay, never mind. How do AI?
I know, sorry, a bit confusing. I was just kind of like, let's mix it up a little bit, like we can bring you in, bring Masni in. So we'll quickly do this because I've just been told we've actually got 9 minutes. So I'll jump to you, jump to Masni. We'll get Elizabeth in again. Make sure everyone has their say and conversation, and then at the end we'll do like a massive conversation. So over to you, Sabrina.
So I think in terms of like reducing inequality is probably looking at it in a way that I think, okay, in my organization itself, right, how we actually kind of like empower our employees to actually discover, like in accordance to the previous question, right, on their passion portion, right, is how they can actually, we actually have a trainee program that actually allows like our employees to actually cross try out different roles within the organization itself to actually
so kind of like a test run kind of thing. Like, hey, I'll try this out, but it might be for me, but it's not for me. Let me go back to my job. That kind of sort of thing, right?
Correct. Yeah. So if let's say like they actually excel in a different kind of position, we actually allow them to actually go into a different position altogether.
Okay.
In terms of like when you're talking about transitioning, like to promote social cohesion, I think using like the AI itself, right, it can actually kind of like help individuals to engage with their work and kind of like leverage on like their human qualities in that sense. So
Right.
in our organization, we kind of also okay, so there is this saying that if you are mentally healthy, you will be able to be more happy and at the same time be able to excel better in whatever that you're doing, correct? So
Right.
in our organization, we kind of like we have like unlimited mental health days that our creative team actually kind of uses it on a very regular basis. Like
Okay.
technically anyone in the organization can actually use it, but we
Okay.
see that more creative people tend to actually not say leverage but utilize it more, and we actually see a huge increase in their productivity when they take that day off. The days that they are actually working, they actually produce a lot much better work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think, and you know, like using like the different AI tools, right? Especially on the creative aspect, it actually helps in terms of like giving them a lot of inspiration for them to actually excel better in their own creative elements.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see how that social cohesion and reduce inequality, sorry, can be done with an organization. And I know I fired that question at you, Sabrina. You're like, whoa, why did you fire this question at me? But I like sometimes I do like to do that when I'm moderating because I like to like, you know, give some hard questions sometimes. You know, just because sometimes you can get different perspectives, sometimes you can get different ideas and different spins. So I appreciate you, you know, trying to answer that as best as you could. And I do agree with you 110%. Within my organization, I think of the same way as what you do. So thank you very much, Sabrina. And I apologize for just chucking it at you. Masni, over to you.
Yeah, I think the final question, right? I think it's also very, very relatable to what Sabrina just shared. I think the changes or some of the things that the organizations can do, actually, it's like, for example, promoting flexible working hours, working arrangements, and then even the social entrepreneurship and community-driven initiatives actually can help individuals find meaning in their work, while contributing to the greater good. So I would say, can I just say in conclusion, while AI may disrupt traditional job markets, it also opens doors to new possibilities.
Right. No. Yeah. Okay, we've got time for one more question. I'm going to read some comments quickly as well. Elizabeth says, we are seeing great changes in job formats. Stefan says, also have freedom to allow for people who have a spiritual life that is more narrow in other people's eyes. Very interesting perspective there, Stefan. Thank you very much for sharing that. So, last question, which is how can the transition to new forms of work support individual dignity and purpose? We've got 3 minutes left, so we're going to quickly fire on this one, 30 seconds. So we'll hand this over to Elizabeth because you haven't spoken. And then we'll also go over to Lynn after as well, after Stefania. And then we'll round this up. So Stefania, over to you.
Oh, okay. That was fast. Okay.
Yes.
So what I was thinking on this is it came to my mind the Maslow pyramid of needs. And if we are removing some tasks by using AI, we can get in that pyramid of needs on an upper level, which means that we are reaching more meaningful type of work and we are coming closer to our purpose. And that comes back to what Lynn was talking about, the spirituality. Andrea was also pointing on that direction. So new ways of work hopefully will remove the part of tasks that our brain doesn't want to do and will give us some space for the personal development and going to the direction of purpose and dignity, which I think they go together.
Elizabeth, I'm going to chuck this question at you quickly as well, because we've got literally like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So Elizabeth, quickly summarize how can the transition to new forms of work support individual dignity and purpose?
New form of work. Okay, I will talk about my.
You got to be quick, Elizabeth. They've got 30
Okay,
seconds.
I'll talk about my education in terms of equality too, because like opportunity, I look at opportunity that children will be able to see the world, the bigger world that we will be given to them. You know, like very young children after preschool, we can't bring them to see difficult things, dangerous things, but we can use AI and explain all these things to them.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for a superb panel. Absolutely amazing, guys. And thank you to each and every one of you. It's been a pleasure having you on the panel. My name is Russell Bundy. I'm the Director of Partnerships at GatherVerse, and this has been a great roundtable. And that's it from me and from the panel here. And we've got plenty more panels coming up, including a fireside chat with Lynn coming up next. So I will see you guys later. And Christopher, over to you.
And so we're back, and while we're waiting for Stefan Youngblood to be able to join us on stage, if he can make it, things happen like that. We still have plenty to cover, and that's what GatherVerse is fully prepared for. Russell, you just came off the heels of a very exciting discussion and a very powerful discussion. Can you give a couple of brief remarks on that while we start to onboard Stefan in here for this fireside?
Wow, where to start? Where to start? It has been such an amazing conversation. So much was discussed. I found it very intriguing around the organizational side, right, and being able to incentivize employees. And I thought that was a very interesting perspective that was brought to the table in how it could help. And also, I found it very interesting as well from the wellness side of things about how the technical side can flow with the spiritual side. I thought that was very intriguing as well within the conversation, Christopher.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to be able to express more of this. We have Stefan just getting ready to join us. Thank you, Russell. And Stefan, we're bringing you up, and we'll see you in a little bit. May our gather be well. Stefan, we're happy to have you here.
We meet again. What's happening?
We meet again. What's happening? There's a lot of wood to chop and a little bit of time to be able to do it.
That's right.
We're certainly happy to have you once again here at GatherVerse as we assemble in global community. Yeah. There's so many things to be able to talk about. And right now, you and I are about to kind of jump into headfirst, if you will, your place in the AI revolution, because oftentimes we know, audience, that in some ways and in some capacity, we struggle for identity when it comes to the adoption and subscription of these new deployed technologies that have found their way upon us in life.
Mhm.
And we know that there's tremendous opportunity when it comes to these type of powerful new technologies, especially when we think about the family of models and the different types of AI models that are here that have a manifold use purpose to
Mhm.
be able to use them and to be able to utilize them. And so, how does one find their place when it comes into the AI revolution? We have Stephen Youngblood, who's doing incredible things in the Black community and different communities abroad and about, and has been in the trenches for some time. And I kind of want to go in here and say from the start that, with Stefan, you've been on a bit of a mission and a bit of a journey to make sure that these technologies that we find ourselves involved with, whether it's the metaverse or artificial intelligence and generative AI and diffusion models and more, that everyone has the opportunity to be able to use them and to help propagate the voices of those that have been innovating for just as long as others. And so I certainly want to doff my hat to the work you're doing. And where does this pursuit come from?
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Honestly, I think it comes from my heart, from faith, my dad and mom bringing me up in such a way that I'm always asking, well, who's not at the table? Very big family growing up, 4 boys, 4 girls, my parents, 10 of us, all 1 year apart. So there was a young blood in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And we traveled as a group. We did a lot. But now, if you and I go into a place, and be it a conference, a board of a large company or something, and we see someone that's not there at the table, we usually ask, or we try to find out what is it that we can do to bring our people to a place of being used. That's what brought me to have hireblack.com. We had 250,000 jobs there, and we're doing a really cool overhaul of it right now. Black Metaverse, 6,000 people in an ecosystem. You've been part of some works we've done there. And now the Black AI Think Tank. Listen, it's just a way for us to find each other. I just got off a planning meeting for our National Black AI Literacy Day, which is a week from now. It's just for us to find each other, help one another, lift one another up, and be a part of what each person is doing. So it's got me squarely in this place of saying, what can I do for someone else?
And it's that important because I think that every person that walks the face of this earth, and you and I know, brings a unique culture. And they certainly bring an identity with them when it comes to what are their global contributions. And what we don't want to find ourselves with any exclusion of any type of person on this planet. We want to be able to work with our communities of where we come from and to simply make sure that we acknowledge their contributions in the greater development of these emerging technologies.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I want to tell you that you have that spirit. So I've seen you do these massive conferences globally and everywhere. It's almost, I don't care about this and that. You have value. And that's where you come from. And you've made all of us feel the same way. Years ago, my grandfather is from Calcutta. He was a stowaway on a ship at 19 years old, came to America. But I went back and traced some of our roots. I was in Calcutta working with Mother Teresa's Missions of Charity. And I'm telling you, these nuns, 300 of them live there. They don't ask a bunch of questions before they help somebody on the street. They don't do that. They just help somebody. So empathy is like, man, I really care about this world. There's issues and things going on. But compassion is sort of putting hands and feet to your empathy and not only caring deeply, but doing something to help somebody up, lift somebody up, help somebody else to shine more than you do, And anyway.
And such in the spirit, and to piggyback on the last roundtable that we had was dynamically powerful. The idea, isn't it, to some degree, is to start thinking about with this more opportunity that we have with AI. How does it change for everyone? How does it bring value to everyone? Or is it just another innovative product that becomes rapidly adopted and only a few continue to benefit from it? I think that artificial intelligence is a difference maker. I know that you spent time and have interviewed people like J. Cole, filled with culture, and then you've interviewed Nick Bostrom. Audience, for those that don't know who Nick Bostrom is, he wrote a book called Super Intelligence, and other books that just recently came out. But he wrote a book called Super Intelligence before AI was as hot as it is now, but it was very forward thinking. And I'm not saying that everything that Nick has put in there and has written about is 100% accurate, because it's not. But it was extremely forward thinking, and it was almost a guide star, if you will, when it comes to AI. What are some of your experiences and takeaways from being afforded the opportunity to spend with people like J. Cole and Nick Bostrom in your sojourn?
Yeah. So I sat down with J. Cole for 2.5 hours in his basement in the studio. And to be honest, it was surreal, just to have that experience. And I lived into it because I knew something was happening. And I will say this, and he'll probably be glad that I said it. People like him don't want to go a lot into conversation about AI with someone like me, because the last thing you want is to think, oh man, Kendrick Lamar, that's AI. He's Drake. He's only using AI. So just to get that off the table, we stayed away from that. I wasn't an AI guy coming in with J. Cole at all. We talked about fatherhood. We talked about my trip to Mount Everest base camp and stuff like that, and how we deal with adversity. And with Nick Bostrom, to be honest, I challenged an idea that he had put out there that was racist. And I heard him say some things. I wrote him an email, and that started a relationship where he just recounted all of that and completely told me of the shame that he had for doing this years ago, and some things that are happening now. So that led to 2 more podcasts with him. And to be honest, I come as a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible. There's this scripture, I think it's in the Old Testament, and there's a tribe called the sons of Issachar. And what was written about them is they understood the times and they knew what to do. Well, I don't understand everything. I don't understand everything to do, but I do believe wholeheartedly that God has something to do with it. A creator, the one we try to get to and see through a Hubble telescope. We can't see far enough to see the mystery that's out there. So I go at Nick talking about that type of thing. I sent a paper to him. I sent it back, did some ideas on it. Then he sent me a newest paper that he's working on because he said, mine's similar to yours. He's talking about a cosmic force that he thinks now may be out there on the other side of utopia. So yeah, it's a faith thing with him for sure.
And I know a lot of people are saying, well, we're supposed to be talking about education and workforce, but let's go back to what Simon Sinek said incredibly, that people don't buy products and services, they buy culture. And I submit to you and I submit to the audience that artificial intelligence is an extraction and extension from humanity and nature itself, and it gets its inspiration always from these different places that have accumulated such an accumulation of wealth through the ages and dispensations of time to be able to even have the opportunity to arrive at these type of models that we work with, and those of faith, such as myself, given by God, if you will. And so when I think about what we're talking about here, and with the relationship that we have, I know you often talk about your grandchildren, you talk about your mother, and I want to get more to the human cultural aspect of what that means and the impact towards the work that you're doing in technology today.
Yeah. So if I had 2 cents, if you're going to cut this interview off right now, I would say, y'all stay grounded. See people. Somebody said in the earlier thing, go walk on some grass somewhere. Be with somebody, hug somebody. I was just with a man who's battling homelessness this morning, but we talk about AI. He gets it. Everybody they call it the Obama phone. I mean, Raleigh, North Carolina, a lot of people, everybody has a phone. Just put it that way, no matter where you live or don't live. But be a part of humanity. And Chris, I'm saying this because so much of this digital wall that's coming towards us, it is too powerful for us. People, I believe it's too powerful for us. This 6 or 7 pounds or 8 pounds of brain cannot take in that much of information. We weren't even meant to. So find your spot. I think it was Frederick Buechner who said that your work is where your greatest passion meets the world's greatest need. So you find that kind of place where it aligns with what you are, but keep it about people. Man, Chris, if this interview was over something with my granddaughter, I would say, Chris, I'm gonna go to her appointment. I can't stay here, but schedule me at another time. We don't know what the times are looking like, Chris. I think you and I probably believe that we're on the cusp of AGI. We used to say 100 years from now, but the digital synchronization of who we are as a person with the digital part and the human part is going to be very interesting. It's not going to show up as some robot coming to our front door. It's going to come as influence during
What's fascinating about that, and we talk about AGI, and I am someone that has been bullish on the notion of artificial general intelligence audience.
Mhm.
or when we talk about superintelligence or theory of mind, self-aware, cosmic AI, so forth and so on. But I realize even in the day of Turing, when we think about the different papers that he wrote, which I encourage everyone that is a so-called expert in AI to go read these different narratives that have been produced. Artificial intelligence has been around for many decades, and we're standing on the shoulders of pioneers. But let me say this, Stefan, that it seems to me that all the things that have had the trajectories and the Turing test and all of that, to me, it's been disrupted. I don't think that they had enough information available to them to
Yeah.
be able to indicate where
Right.
we're actually at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
AGI is now more of a product to me than the actual narrative of artificial intelligence being an applied science. And it's us and
Mhm.
all of the people in GatherVerse community and elsewhere, and in your Black AI community and all the communities in the world. We're dealing with frontier intelligence.
Yeah.
And we are paving the way towards what we will define what this will be. This will not be dictated and defined by people from the past of what this is, because their trajectories and what they were looking at
Yeah.
was too low for the bar that's now
Yeah.
been set so high.
Yeah. Chris, you talk about this. You come into our rooms, you talk about it a lot. I think what we thought we knew of
Right.
the future is changing right now.
That's right.
What we do know of the past is the past, but y'all, everything is in flux right now. And I just want to offer this out there too, is that the definitions that we have of words, of just what is it to be human?
Right.
What is knowledge? You
Right.
know, what is intelligence? How about this one? What is ethical? These type of things, you can look at what the definition was in 1950, look at what it is now, and our actual idea of consciousness is going to be different in the year 2050 than what it is now. So even though we might say, yeah, this is AGI or that's not, this is conscious and that's not, I think where it's coming down to is the redefining of words, sometimes in an unfortunate way, maybe fortunate, and the reestablishing of the establishment of some words so they fit where we are. But I believe we may think something's not conscious, but someone has changed the word, the meaning of consciousness, so that what's going on sort of fits in their idea of what consciousness is.
I think in some way that artificial intelligence is a humbling technology because it allows us to know just how much we don't know.
Yeah.
I think, and say, hey, there may be people that don't believe in God, and that's certainly within your prerogative and or a higher intelligence. But the reality is that we're all ill-sufficient compared to what we think we know.
Bingo.
I would submit to you that there's more that we don't know than what we do know. And
I
so
love to hear you say that.
while we're so caught up in our bags of expertise, humble yourself to the idea that there's so much more that you don't know. And this is one of the reasons why we're using artificial intelligence as much as we're using, because it has a capability to be able to hopefully extend the things of which we're doing, the task, the labor, our expressions, but we don't want it to express and be a replacement for the brain that we've been given since we come from our mother's womb.
Yeah, you've heard it, and it's been said before. Think of it as it's augmenting the human experience.
Right.
It's augmenting. It's assisted intelligence. So it's us, but think of what it's doing for Alzheimer's and dementia patients right now.
Sure.
Think of what it's doing for some people who are shut in and who have issues just going outside. I do this with high school students in one of our cities here in North Carolina. I show them how they can take simple tools with AI and create a company out of it. As a matter of fact, for anyone who wants to follow that model, we did these young men with their phones, and their moms came in. So we did a day workshop on a Saturday with teenagers and their moms where we were talking about entrepreneurship, and it was AI as their way to get into it. And y'all can dazzle people with AI enough in 1 hour that it'll cause them to realize we're in a whole new world right now.
We're in a whole new world, and we're in it together. And for us, you and I, Stefan, and for everybody in the global GatherVerse community, we hope that we would build well, be compassionate, with care and kindness as we continue to move forward. That's all the time that we have, Stefan. We never have enough time to be able to spend time. I feel like we can go the distance as well with everyone in the GatherVerse community. Follow Stefan. Doesn't matter, no matter your background, no matter where you're from.
Right.
Follow this guy, build with them support, build the bridge together, and let's collaborate so that we all can benefit and advance together with the hope for greater prosperity and abundance.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. This means the world. This is the world. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm tuned in and I love it. Thank you so much.
Stefan, see you.
All right, bye.
Hello, and greetings. Okay, let's keep on coming. All right. Thank you so much for coming here, and I want to thank the previous panel and the previous fireside chat. They were very quite impactful, and I think this conversation is just a follow up of what they were saying. My name is Lee Kao. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who is hearing some feedback, so please mute your mic if you might. Okay, thank you. So my name is Ling Gitao, Communications Director for GatherVerse, and we're very happy to have you for this roundtable panel on education without physical schools, AI-guided learning in real and hyper real. Well, I am not alone. I have with me a lineup of expert speakers who are going to help us demystify this topic. And I just want to pick up something from the previous fireside chat. And Chris mentioned that AI reveals what we don't know. And this brings me to the conversation. What is actually education? Does education reveal to us what we know and what we don't know? I don't know. You're going to help me answer this. So let's start with the introductions. And I ask you to be very, very brief, my fellow panelists, be brief with your introductions. And we will start with you, Lubna. Please go. Your mic is muted. Please unmute.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm so glad to be a panelist at this GatherVerse universe we have created for such an important topic. I am Lubna Yusuf. I'm the founder of La Legal and the AI tech law firm, as well as the founder of Fisheye Box Innovations Lab in India here in Mumbai. And I've written a book on AI, on fintech, and I can't wait to start this chat with you all.
Amazing. You're welcome. Bhavin, you're muted. Kindly unmute.
Yes, thank you, Lynn and Lubna and everyone. I'm Bhavin Kapadia. I've been previously in financial services. I worked in banking for a long time. And then I became a consultant. And nowadays I'm advising for the last several years all the big corporate companies on AI and LLMs and integrations and doing a lot of public speaking as well to try and broaden the community. And I'm a big advocate for education because I think education and humanity is a great source for inspiration for inspiring the next generation. So thank you for letting me be involved here at GatherVerse.
You're welcome. Fantastic. Benjamin, you're next.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm actually a preschool teacher based in Singapore. So thank you for having me here. It's my first time actually speaking to all of you. Thank you.
Wow, I like having teachers. Thank you for coming. Casey, we meet again. Please go.
Hello. Yeah. So I'm Casey Jensen. I have been in this industry for several years now, working in AI and computer vision and XR, and now I do consulting for enterprise companies, helping them sort of figure out how to utilize these tools the best way today, not 5 years from now, and trying to help them be real effective in building community and using these things to really bring people together and help drive adoption and learning.
Fantastic. Karibu. That means welcome in Swahili. Abhi.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Len and esteemed panelists to be here. It's a pleasure. To talk on AI. I am Abhilek Verma, and I run a startup based out of Hyderabad, which is into AI ML recruitment and upskilling. I have also been a global startup mentor after having a decade of experience into corporate training and sales. So yeah, it's a lovely time here, and I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to your expressions. David?
Hey, thank you. David Lockett. I'm a co-principal investigator at the School of Applied Computational Sciences. Our motto is to innovate, connect, and serve. We've got a wide variety of AI-driven programs and projects funded in part from NASA, the National Institute of Health, and the National Science Foundation. So excited to join today and share more.
We're happy to connect with you as well. Joy?
Hi, all. It's nice connecting to you, looking at your face. Hi, friends. So, I'm Jemima. I'm a director of artificial intelligence in a Provi Consulting. Earlier, I was a data scientist, machine learning expert. So, I have an experience of more than a decade in data analysis and machine learning, now into artificial intelligence, chatbot, generative AI. And I've spoken in several conferences and summits. The title looks very inspiring because I was keen interested in the learning part and the students' education. Nice connecting to you all. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Gerald, you're next.
So yeah, thank you. So I'm last. My name is Gerald. I'm French, living in Singapore. Named Prof. Gerald. So I'm a consultant AI, but I teach too about AI coding to different people from non-tech to tech.
Well, now that you were the last to introduce yourself, I want you to help us define actually what is real and hyper real to you, Joe. And you can help us also understand how does AI redefine learning in the virtual learning environment.
I will take what one friend of mine said, that AI, artificial intelligence, is badly named. It should be augmented imagination. And I think imagine that now your book is capable to adapt itself to your learning and to your thinking. On is that AI. I am myself. I have dyslexia. So it's always been very difficult for me to learn on tech. Have been something that I really, on a young age, get it and enter in it because I had the logic. And I think AI will allow people like me and in general everybody to really have a customized learning for everyone. That is in real, but too in hyper virtual. So yeah, for me, it's really that it's augmenting our imagination and how to learn more and better than we are doing now.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, what you've just said is what Chris mentioned on the fireside chat, that AI augments and also extends what we are and helps us learn more about who we are. And Benjamin, I want to cross this to you because you're a teacher, and I'm very glad that you are here. And I think you have a lot of experiences with classes and students. What new forms of facilitation can educators adopt in the virtual AI powered learning environment? And I also want you to define for me what is education for you when you are teaching students in your classes? What is education? Please help me answer those two questions if you can.
I will take the second question first. What does education means to me in school? So basically, in school, we have been taught that we are not teaching. That seems to be our role, but actually what we do is to facilitate their learning. So we provide them with materials, and in this AI world, is actually to provide them with the right form of like tools to help them to open up their world, to see the world in the virtual world also. So the second question was more of like what kind of facilitation can we adopt in the virtual world? I feel like it's not as straightforward. What I have been trying to use is actually to implement the use of like training bots or chatbots because it seems to be the kind of trends that my children love to explore with. Some of them comes to school and tell us that, oh, at home I have like Google smartphones or Google's smart devices. So they actually interact with their Googles. And that was like, very fascinating. And often we think about how we can actually leverage on what they do at home in our school environment. Of course, a lot of these things are just ideas. We still need to bounce off with our leaders and our bosses on what we can do and what we need to work within with. Yeah.
I love the point where you're bringing what they're doing at home at school as well. I think that model is something that needs to be learned because kids are now learning more from even at the screens or at home or any other social gathering or environment, and they're learning more faster with faster than the educators themselves. Joy, I want to bring you on this because you're very keen on learning and how AI is facilitating educators to adopt a virtual AI-powered learning environment. Would you like to add what Benjamin has just said?
Yes, thank you, Lynn. In adapting to the new form of facilitation, educators should have an AI-driven curation where they have most relevant learning materials because students are now based on most of the programmed powered chatbot virtual agents that help students in queries 24 by 7. So they should have an instant learning which AI could support, like an intelligent tutoring system. So this can provide feedback, guidance similar to a one-to-one tutor. So you should have an AI, use AI to offer real-time assistance in subject might be another point. With the gamification, incorporating the game elements in learning could help the students in motivation and engagement. So I come across certain platforms like Kahoot use AI to create quizzes to cater to different learning levels. And I come across AI can enhance a virtual classrooms that can provide real-time analytics on student participation and understanding the educators adjust their teaching strategies on the fly. So this would definitely help them on adopting the new technologies and making the children more motivated.
Definitely. Joy, I do agree with you on that. And you are on the technical side of that. And I'm putting myself in the shoes of so many educators. So many educators don't know the technical side of things, which brings me to the challenges that educators and both students and learning institutions are facing. And I want to address this to you, Abby. What challenges might arise apart from maybe the knowledge side of things, might arise in maintaining educational standards in a digital only setting? And anyone can also jump on this. But we will start with you, Abby. Please tell us.
Yeah, I
So
think
oh,
one of the key challenges is about, getting the consistent quality. Like most of the students, they face this, when it is digital, right? So how do they get that consistent quality? And one of the key things is about the engagement. How do we engage the students, right? Specifically when they're online. And one of the key challenges, what I have observed is how do we prevent cheating? I mean, because again, because of this AI tools, how do we stop them using this, be more smarter than AI and things like that, right? So we also need to be double sure about the fairness of the AI systems, because though we are implementing all this AI system, how about the transparency? How about the alignment with the educational standards, right? So those are the important areas I see right now where these kind of challenges need to be addressed when it comes to the digital only setting.
Bafin, I see you have something to add on that. Please do add to it.
yeah, I'll add a few things on that. I think the technical aspects of AI is really, really challenging. I think if you come from a technical, mathematical background, a science background, a STEM related background, I think you're always much more suitable for that. But obviously, not everybody is technical. But I think this AI presents a lot of opportunities for people who are non-technical in terms of marketing and sales. So if you are good at public speaking and you enjoy explaining technical concepts, but in a more simple, open-ended language for all mainstream users, then you can be really qualified and really, do really well in your career and for the wider, broader community. So there's a lot of opportunities for all. But I think above all, whether you are technical or not, I think the curiosity is most important. How determined you are in willing to learn and research and wanting to get better a little bit by each day, learn new concepts. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there on social media, YouTube. There's great thought leaders, a lot of research papers. So as long as you're willing to learn, and then I think, and you put yourself out there, and you meet
Yeah.
new people and you do networking, then I think you will definitely accelerate your career path.
Yeah. That is very true. I've listened to you, Bhavin and Verma, and I've gotten some few points here. So when you are curious to learn, and now what you've learned, you now start implementing it. Because I've also seen a challenge where people are learning a lot. We are learning a lot, but the implementation side of things, that is where the egg comes in. And Verma just mentioned how to do that better.
Sure.
David, this goes to you, or I think Casey, you want to jump on this
Yeah,
before I go to
yeah, I was just going to say a couple things. I think another big challenge is course data privacy, which we're dealing with across, our world here. And, it relies on a lot of data. And of course, with that arises a lot of access that is uneven, potentially leaving certain students behind. So I think that's something we always have to be aware of. And I think it's also important that we understand that teachers and people that are managing these classes and these learning activities need to manage the AI, not the AI manage them. So I think it's really about, constantly wanting to moderate it, understand it, mold it to what they're doing, watch it. And that's really important because it's, for some regular small tasks, you can let it go. But for a lot of the things we want to do in education, we really need to spend that time to be able to help them understand how to manage that and moderate and work with it.
That's a very insightful perspective, because training the machine how to respond to us or controlling it, that is the key thing. It's not the machine controlling us, but we controlling the machines, and also teaching learners to learn that. And David, I want to pass this to you. And when I pass this to you, I want you to prepare what is your definition of real and hyperreal, and tell us, how does hyperreal AI powered learning environment promote human connections and relationships?
So when we think about hyperreal and real, I'm coming from a higher education background. Particularly, I'm at a medical university. We focus on computer science, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and so forth in those different domains. One thing that we really focus on in the real and the hyperreal is immersive experiences, and how AI can be, realistic, and how it can, bolster interactive virtual environments for students, whether it's simulation-based learning or scenarios for hands-on learning. When we look at our different learning paths for adaptive learning paths for AI, we want to be able to make sure that, any type of an AI system that we're using, we're looking at the analytics, we're looking at whether or not it's culturally sensitive. We're looking at the different learning styles. We're looking at the different learning pace. We're looking at, how does AI define learning in a virtual environment? So we put all those different pieces together. We want those challenges to be, something that we can maintain in a higher educational environment and in a digital setting as well.
Definitely. Lubna, do you want to add something to this? Yeah, I see you resonating with what he says. Please unmute. Please unmute. Unmute your mic kindly.
Yes. So yes, I do agree with what he's saying, because right now we are in a very interesting intersection of what is real and what is virtual. And I've also had some experience of teaching college grads. I teach tech law to them. So, and it was very interesting because just in the second year of my teaching, we met with the COVID. And so then the learning pattern as well as the interactive pattern that I saw in the before COVID students, during COVID student, and post COVID phase was very different. Their approach as well as their interaction as well as their grasp on the same topic was very interesting to note in when I got to review their projects. And I found in some cases the people who learned online did too well, maybe overall, but a bunch of students in real learning had some in very interesting questions, which I think would not have been able to be possibly achieved in a virtual class. So this kind of that graph where real learning versus AI powered learning with my tools on with the interactive, VR goggles or the other things which we involved in teaching the students, and we gave them the project. So some students, when they did the project on site, as opposed to some students which made a real VR tool, because then they were fighting that space that we don't have in real time. So they did so many things that they wouldn't have otherwise done. So I think also is a very interesting way. And now that we are in a post-COVID era, maybe we could amalgamate and bring together the positives of both, and create a kind of an atmosphere in education as well as our interaction with AI algorithm in our education system, as to understand what is not too much. We should not integrate everything. Our
That is
infrastructure should not be, just because we have this, so let's just have everything. So we should be
yeah,
very choosy, selective,
yeah,
and focused, and then only we can make the best of what is the real versus what is the best, or what is the virtual, the the good, the benefit from the best of the both worlds.
yeah. Yusuf, thank you for sharing that observation. I wonder how many people have or learners have observed that kind of observation. And it brings me to you, Gerald. I want you to help me with this, because we've just observed there's a very huge shift after COVID-19. I think this is something Chris always says. Things shifted. The biggest shift that we've ever seen in the world is during COVID-19. It's not the adoption of AI, it's not the hyperscaling of AI. It was during COVID-19. And I want to pass this to you, Gerald. What opportunities or professional development opportunities are essential for instructors in an AI-driven education? And anyone can jump on this after Gerald as well. You're muted. Can you unmute? Can you unmute?
Excuse me. I was saying that I think that, and we say already, that is curiosity. The first thing that you need is to be curious about that. After education, takes some change since the beginning of the time. Not so long ago, we introduced, the calculator in maths, and it changed the maths completely. So we were speaking about, how to avoid cheating on all of that. I think we need to really think and rethink education on what it is and of it is. And perhaps what we consider now as being the good way is not. But don't say that everything is good to take. And I agree with Lubna. Because if you say you were speaking about COVID, yeah, we were all virtual during COVID, and we get out of COVID, and yeah, people were wanting to get out on the virtual, find a sort of balance. And AI have 2 years. OpenAI launched ChatGPT around 2 years ago, so it will take this time too. So we are all in it, a lot of this, but we will have a balance. And I think people need to have this curiosity and to find this balance. And that will be the two things that I think will be the most useful. After you can be technical, learn to code, but technology change fast. But yeah, it's really that curiosity and yes, balance.
Yeah,
Adding
very true.
to
Okay, who wants to add? Please go.
Yeah, adding to the Gerald's point, the AI instructors or the facilities using that, no, they should learn the ethical AI as well. That is what we are talking about. They should be trained on AI literacy, so that the training should be of data privacy and bias and other things. So AI is just like the fire and the knife we have. We can do good things, we can do bad things. How efficiently we could use that. So the instructors and the developers should have a learning on how effectively integrate AI tools into their teaching practice, and they also engage in ongoing professional development to stay updated with the latest advancements as well. So that ethical AI has to be followed with the instructors for the betterment.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And that is what Casey was trying to say. I think he also wants to add something on that. Casey.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, it's the whole ethical piece of this. I think is really crucial to ensure they understand how to avoid bias and maintain fairness in this AI powered learning environments. The other thing I was going to say is I think there has to be a lot of learnings when it comes to data analytics. You know, our world and a lot of us have lived in this data analytics world now, but I think there's some people that haven't. I think they need to know that, because be able to take really advantage of AI in these settings, the data and analytics to be able to understand where a student is and be able to lift that student up and help that student, or provide that student in a higher direction if they're wanting to do that. I think understanding data analytics and how to utilize it within these settings is really important.
Very, very important. And it leads me to think, who will train these learners and institutions how to use this data? Who does the training? Because I think that there's need for training on that. If you agree with me, please let me know, and you can chime in on this. Please let me know. David, I see you nodding to that. Who's going to train us on how to handle this data?
That's a good question. When we look at different ways to enhance accessibility for students, I say it always starts with the training. Whether it's undergraduate students, whether it's anywhere in that K-12 or K-16 pipeline, you want students to understand AI fundamentals. You want them to understand capabilities, and it starts early. You want them to learn how to effectively integrate AI tools. And it starts with training. I like to, make sure that we're up to date on all new emerging AI technologies and applications. We're cultivating new skills. We're complementing AI with creativity and empathy. When we work with our students and our faculty, we focus on professional development and how it's essential for instructors in AI-driven education. Because you're enhancing abilities, you are supporting different intelligence, you're offering personalized recommendations. So just kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think everything that David said is right. The ethical aspects, the training, but I think we should also be aware of the negative side of AI, the security aspects of it. So the cyber attacks. So that's what I'm heavily involved in these days with my clients, about protecting the bad actors and how to learn that and how to prevent any malfunctions in your corporate environments and enterprise systems. So that's a really big thing, and that requires specialized training and education as well. So there's opportunities for learners and instructors as well to get on top of that, because it's a new field, and it requires a brand new wave of thinking, and all the previous generation of cyber attacks isn't quite compatible for today, because the cyber systems aren't suited for AI, and AI is new. So it completely needs a new comprehensive review of all the old legacy systems into making it something more overhaul and making it more robust for large language models and other privacy and data issues.
Yeah, totally agree on that, because we're dealing with a totally new concept. And I see Gerald burning.
Yeah. I was asking to add something. It's a bit of a sideline, but you see, AI had already a good effect. Is we speak about our data on the ownership that we have. The 90s and the 20s, the Web 2.0 was everything about data, but we were not owning them. And now we get back this data with AI. And that is something that is very important. And that, I think, is something that makes us better as humanity.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's actually getting heated with our audience as well. Since this topic is very interesting. And let me just feed some audience, what our audience are saying out here. William is saying we cannot forget that along with AI ethics, the teachers need to be sure that all students' cultural background, teachers need to recognize the bias to address it. There's Jared who says assumes they care, which is a huge assumption. I don't know. There's a very good heated debate here. And Naha says, great panel, awesome questions and answers. Yes, Jared, that is true. And Casey, You have been in the immersive tech space for a while now, and I want you to help us understand how can immersive technologies transform the way learners engage with education. And I also want you, Benjamin, to jump on this because you mentioned something to do with classes with your students. And anyone who feels that they want to jump on this, please do. Casey.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we've been doing it for a while. I've been in VR AR for quite a while, and in the enterprise world and in training and simulation, in manufacturing and healthcare, have been some of the ones that have really advanced a lot of this stuff, where they're using these things to be able to train and train safer and all kinds of things. And now you're starting to see schools use it for biology, being able to look at the human body in 3D, and chemistry students be able to conduct, safe experiments that maybe they couldn't conduct in those environments. But I think it's all about doing things that leads to deeper engagement and improved retention is really big here. And probably the most important thing here, I think, is using these technologies to cater to different learning styles, whether it's visual, auditory, ensuring a wider range of students are engaged, right? I mean, I remember I was born in Texas, but I lived in California as a child for a while, and I got to go to this really advanced school back then, where you basically you could move based on everybody was very personalized, so you could move up 3 grades in this, you could be standard in this, but they let you progress. And then I went from LA to a town of about 5,000 people back in Texas, and I was Mr. ADHD and stuck in a classroom and everybody having to do the same thing, and I just sort of collapsed. And I think really being able to use these things to help people with different abilities and learning styles is such an amazing opportunity for these technologies.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because every child is different. I mean, everywhere I go in an education seminar or an education forum, the conversation is always that the education system never changes. It's always the same thing. It was innovated, still the same until right now. Well, the students are not. The students are evolving, the teachers are evolving, and that is a very good point that you have brought there. And Benjamin, I want you to add on to this. What do you think immersive technologies add to education? And you as an educator, how do you see the education system changing 5 years from now?
I think when we say how how are how are technologies transforming the way learners learn, right? We also need to look at what was it before and what is it now. So think of it as a case where they are learning the same thing but in different ways. So for example, in the past, when you talk about physical education, you need the teacher there physically to engage you on things like jumping, on things like running. But now, with the help of using AI or using like apps, you can actually do things in the AR world or the VR world, where you actually learn to tap, to drag, or to jump and engage them, teaching them the same thing, but yet in a different way. So I thought that was quite cool. And the thing is that if you're talking about 5 years down the road, honestly, it's very unpredictable, but it's exciting because we will never know how the AI and automation will keep on evolving and changing the way, not only how children learn, but how we as educators teach. Yeah, so it's exciting for us to actually venture into that 5 years down the road.
Definitely. Thanks for adding that because actually it's kind of unpredictable. Asking 5 years from now, what do you think? It's very unpredictable because what we used to think that could happen in 10 years is now happening in months. Have you noticed that? That speed of scaling is quite tremendous. And this brings me to the next question, and I want to address it to you, Verma. What innovative assessment methods might emerge in a digital educational framework? And perhaps, Lubna, you can add to that as well.
I think I've seen some amazing assessments. Like I was in Singapore, by the way, in June, and I've seen colleges using, like AI robots, basically come up with some formative assessments. So it provides a real-time feedback with the students. So they ask questions like, show me something about creativity and things like that. So I was at Super AI conference in Singapore in June, and there I saw students from NTU designing a great AI robot, which was able to talk about competency-based evaluation, right? So there is a simulated environment where they get to learn about those analytics, and stuff like that. So it's going to replace the entire traditional model of exams, right? So think about earlier we have to, just answer questions to specific, things which was predefined, but now it's more for, being more holistic, and you're able to, answer things in a much interactive way, right? So I always believe like it has to be more like, continuous learning, facility for students, and they have to be adapted to those kind of environments, right? So I always believe competency based evaluations really adds a lot of value when it comes to innovation right now.
Yeah, that's very true. I think yesterday, I think we had that panel discussion on evaluation of how students can be graded and all that. And we had such points being brought across. And Lubna, perhaps you can add your perspective on this. What do you think?
Yes, it's so interesting because this takes me back to our education system where we used to wait what is the result going to be of this test, and then now when I see the students today, it's different, but the system of assessment remains the same because we are given the same set of questions. So what I see AI doing is a very like what generative AI assessment can do, that is bring a personalized assessment test depending upon each student. And I think there are some forms of schools which have already started doing this, that I will be graded based upon my previous grade as well as my ability to complete this test, and not be compared with the same, say, the peer group or the same set of questions that were given to me. So this is a kind of a very interesting approach to assessment, where you will be assessed for your ability and not like a generalized assessment that we've been burdened with because of what our systematic flaws have been. So basically using AI tools to remove the flaws of uh, the general system that we have been following, to actually try something new. So this is a very exciting approach that I feel that AI assessment or generative AI assessment can do as a personalized assessment tool, depending on the child's or the learner's ability to grasp a concept or a subject.
Yeah. I actually resonate with that, and I agree it's very exciting because also me, that the education system I went through, how we got our grading system was through not a billboard, but it was always placed somewhere on a board, and we didn't have access to it. We just saw it on a board. That's why you get to see your grades and your peers' grades and everyone's grades, and that's why you
Everyone's
get compare yourself with your colleagues. And it's very interesting because for me, I think this is the most exciting time to even change our education system. And perhaps Casey, I see you nodding to that. Do you want to add
Yeah.
something to
Well,
that?
I was just saying what I'm really excited about this is it really making it possible for students to be constantly challenged without being overwhelmed. So, I think, there's, especially in poor areas or areas that are rural, I mean, there's a lot of times that there's students that just get missed that have amazing opportunities, but if they're not proactive about AP classes or things like that, they may not get it. And with this, it allows to find those people and be able to challenge them and constantly lift them up and challenge them more. And I just think that's one area I'm really excited about, is being able to understand where students can be challenged or helped, and be able to give them that opportunity.
Yeah, very true. I think, David, you're also resonating with that. Please add your perspective on this.
With different types of assessment, I haven't heard my favorite one, which is game-based assessment. We look at different assessment for digital education and innovative assessment methods for students. We've got virtual reality simulations, we've got AI powered adaptive assessments, game-based assessments that students can learn through, like interactive challenges. There's another one, project-based assessments. Students can integrate things like digital portfolios and tools. You want to look at all of these different ways to provide feedback, whether it's using natural language processing, practical skills. So, students can, learn in new, in integral ways, and, they can build on those soft and interpersonal skills.
Thank you for sharing those methods of assessments. Very keen. I'm quite learning a lot and taking a lot from this. I wanted. Does anyone want to jump on this? Kindly mute your mic, Casey, because I can hear feedback, or Bhavin, kindly mute your mic because of the feedback. But let's go on. I want to pass this to you, Joy. You are in the technical side things. You are in the technical side of things, and I want you to help us. I jumped. Okay, here it is. And anyone can do this. Can jump on this on as well. How will AI powered online learning impact the development of soft and interpersonal skills? Joy.
Yeah. This is a very interesting question because this is a very big challenge for AI. For AI powered platforms, it can simulate a real world scenario, but the student practice soft skills like communication, leadership, and teamwork, right? So we need to create realistic interpersonal interaction, helping the learners practice conflict resolutions or a team management like that. So, however, there is a risk of diminished face to face interaction which may require AI system to evolve in promoting empathy and emotional intelligence and all. But still, we are by using AI tools and other things. So we are helping the students to improve the personal ability, and we are trying to do that with allowing the students to develop a collaboration and digital environment, other things, problem solving. We can give scenarios and make them understand a simulated interaction for them for a teamwork or a practice communication and problem solving. In my academics, I used to give one answer for a question, but that is not now. They are looking for lateral thinking. For one question, they need 10 different answers. That is what the industry looks for.
Wow, that's interesting. Mhm.
So that is
Please go on.
how AI helps us, because as a instructor or a facilitator will look from their perspective when we assess. I mean, as previous question, we look from AI perspective, it looks from 10 different angles, and the question is very tricky for you to answer, which increases thinking as well. So that is how we are trying. We are at the max trying to bring the emotional intelligence and empathy also to bring more realistic scenarios for the learning.
Yeah, that is a super interesting concept. And I remember the previous panel, Russell asked if you're not being empathetic, are you being human? Uh, Bhavin, perhaps you can add something on this. What do you think? What role does AI play in development of interpersonal skills?
Yeah, I think soft skills is, as I've said, is immensely critical because at the end of the day, even if you're working with platforms and systems, I think at the end of the day, you're still collaborating with coworkers, you're collaborating with business users, internal, external teams, various stakeholders. So it's all about ultimately working together to get AI to provide you the right solution. And so communication is absolutely fundamental because, as I've mentioned earlier, certain models are not perfect. Even when you're using certain fine-tuning the models and large language models, it's not always correct. There's
Yeah.
extreme cases, there's extreme tail situations that you want to rectify. So I think soft skills is really good, but I think if you can make your personal time and be sociable to working and in creating friends and finding the right peers for you and having offline conversations in a more one-to-one basis, I think that
Yeah.
will strengthen your confidence and show greater appetite for your risk and learning, and then you'll become a better person overall.
Yeah, definitely, Bhavin. I'm in my line of communications, and I'm bringing in an angle whereby communication is just not communications of human to human or interpersonal communications. We now have communications with AI. Whoever learns how to communicate with AI better, that person gets the most out of AI. I think our time is running out, and this is our final panel questions, and I want to hear from each and every one of you, if you can. In what ways can digital learning systems evolve to keep pace with AI advancements? Perhaps I can start with you, Gerald. Make your remarks as short as you can so that we hear from everyone.
Okay, I think that there are a lot to do for that to evolve. I think it's really need to put technology on AI at the center of it, and it's all it will keep with the advancement. In short.
Thank you for that short remark. Very insightful. David, what do you think?
I think one way that we can do that is to make sure that we incorporate adaptive learning algorithms and make sure that we have more human-like interactions for natural language processing.
Wonderful. Casey?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, in our sort of educational system, it's not been very good in the past years at really evolving and incorporating continuous updates and with content and things like that. I think we must really evolve that and be able to use the algorithms and personalization to be able to keep the most up-to-date information and really driving what's happening today, what's going to be useful today, because it constantly, things constantly change by the hour these days, it seems like. So it's just crazy. And I think really helping, you need to be flexible, really leading with being flexible and scalable to really accommodate the rapid pace of what's going on with AI. I mean, I think that's the mindset you really have to have in this area.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think McKinsey, there was a research by McKinsey, and they were saying adaptability and resilience is the most needed skill right now in a rapidly evolving world. Actually, I had thought that was the final question, but I happen to see there's one more, and we are going to address it from where Benjamin is. Will AI disrupt or enhance the traditional student-teacher dynamic? Please be brief. Benjamin, we can hear your thoughts.
Definitely is enhancing if you actually make use of AI automation to actually take care of all the processes. You free up a lot of time for you to actually focus on the more important parts like the interpersonal relationships with your students. So to me, it's definitely for enhancing. Yep.
Definitely. I go with you as well. Davin, tell us your perspective.
Yeah, I think definitely AI will enhance the quality of education for all. The student teacher will be more dynamic, it'll be more selective. I think any problems can be highlighted on a personalized basis. So it's if 30 students are having to deal with one teacher, I think the one teacher can be really laser focused on those one particular student who might be having issues, but then who can also select the right method and the right approach to elevate their standards. So AI will be a win-win situation for all, and I'm happy to be part of this panel with all of you great speakers today. So thank you for your 1 hour.
Oh, you're welcome. Joy, do you have a different perspective?
Yes. So AI, as I said, it's like a fire and a knife. Okay, you can kill a person, you can use for surgery. Like a fire, you can destroy or you can use for cooking. So it is AI is like that. So if you use correctly, it can enhance the student-teacher dynamic automation by making them as a mentor and a high order thinking with them. So you can make them as a facilitators and a personal mentors for the students, empowering them. But if it is wrongly used, it will be definitely not supporting the education purpose. So right usage of AI is can make you a better dynamics between a student and a teacher.
Wow, fire and the knife. Thank you for that perspective. Yes, so briefly tell us what's your thought on these.
Yes, I agree with Joy, and also I feel that in order to enhance or make the best use of any technology, including AI, is to understand and make sure how well it is integrated into the system and how much of it is integrated into the system. So that quantity is very important. How we are going to allow the teachers or the teaching system to help AI, not replace them, so that human touch will always remain, that will always be the most important. Like you cannot replace a human teacher with an AI tool, but you can only integrate it in your teaching method
Yeah.
to only enhance that process, and that is going to be the test to make it more dynamic.
Thank you for that. Quantity is the thing. Abby, please close us off with your brief remark on this perspective.
I think, yeah, I mean, I agree with every panelist. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the key things is I understand, like when I also teach to MBA colleges, it takes a lot of my time. So I want to prepare all those presentations. So all those repetitive tasks, which I do those administration work, it really helps me to focus more on mentoring and let's say, on personal interaction. So I believe like
Mhm.
AI really can disrupt, but yes, I mean, as everyone mentioned, there's also a boon to it. So we have to be
Yeah.
careful with AI and the privacy and the ethics and part of it.
Well, dear panelists, that was a very powerful roundtable. We could go on, but time could only allow us the little we had. So thank you so much for joining us, our gather as well. As for our audience, please follow our panelists. Their details are on our website. We look forward to the next gather, our gather as well. Thank you so much. Over to you, Christopher. Bye.
Thank you all.
Hello there. Welcome to GatherVerse, a global ecosystem where communities unite to promote a humanity-first approach to technology. My name is Audrey Lowe, and I'm the founder of Designing Trust, a consultancy that helps to measure and strengthen trust in teams. Today, let's explore the intersection of technology and humanity. We will be diving into a topic that's becoming increasingly crucial as AI continues to advance, designing and intentionally strengthening trust in human-centric interactions. So why is trust in teams important in the age of AI? In a world where technology is advancing at an unprecedented speed and artificial intelligence is playing a larger role in our daily lives, trust is the foundation for successful working relationships and collaborations. Without trust and recognizing the role that emotions play in trust building, things become merely transactional. Yes, work can still get done, but something is missing, and we may just get closer to becoming like robots. First, let's define what is trust. Trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or integrity of someone or something. It involves confidence that the person or entity being trusted will act in a way that is expected and that their actions are in alignment with one's best interests or agreed upon standards. Trust is foundational to building relationships, whether personal, professional, or societal, and it often requires time and consistency to develop, but it can be quickly lost if violated. Firstly, collaboration between humans. As AI tools become more integrated into workflows, teams need to trust each other to effectively collaborate and ensure that the standards of expected output are aligned. A lack of trust can cause competent individuals to not function well together as a team, especially when promises are not kept, expectations are not managed, and good requests are not made. Secondly, on decision making and reliability. In many cases, AI provides insights or recommendations rather than final decisions. Teams need to trust each other to interpret and act responsibly, combining human judgment with AI capabilities to make well-rounded decisions. Trust would also play a crucial role in ensuring that leaders, managers, and individual contributors are empowered to make decisions at their respective levels, with the appropriate levels of accountability and ownership involved. The repetition of promises kept to each other results in the reliability of the individuals and of the team to external stakeholders. Thirdly, care and empathy. Empathy should be at the core of human interactions. As more and more things get automated, the human touch becomes a key differentiator. Whether in customer service, healthcare, or education, AI should enhance, not replace human empathy. This means that leaders and managers, especially of tech teams, should be enabling, coaching, and facilitating connection on a personal level within teams. Fourthly, transparency and psychological safety. Trust fosters an environment where team members feel comfortable voicing concerns, asking questions, and taking risks to innovate despite the possibility of failure. Professor Amy Edmondson at Harvard Business School conducted an extensive research on the concept of psychological safety within teams, which is closely related to trust. In her studies with a focus on the healthcare industry, Professor Edmondson found that teams with higher levels of trust and psychological safety reported more errors and issues in hospital environments. Now, this finding might seem counterintuitive at first. Why would more errors be reported in environments with high trust? The key insight is that in psychologically safe environments, team members feel secure to speak up about mistakes, concerns, and uncertainties without the fear of blame or retribution. This openness leads to more reporting of errors, which is positive because it allows organizations to address and learn from these mistakes, ultimately improving patient care and quality. As we move forward in this AI driven era, let's commit to intentionally designing and building trust in teams, which is fundamental in the age of AI. Trust supports effective collaboration, empowers decision making, enhances psychological safety, thereby fostering innovation. Designing trust in teams enhances our humanity, and by remaining empathetic in an increasingly fast paced and transactional world, we remind ourselves of the true north, that ultimately it's about the people and raising up leaders who build teams that help their teams harvest the benefits of AI while truly lifting each other up and serving each other and in turn society. Thank you for joining us today at GatherVerse. Let's continue to shape a future where technology and humanity thrive together.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I am Anusha Yella, and I'm excited to talk about a topic that is not only relevant but also transformative for our digital future. It is AI and accessibility. To begin, let's consider the importance of accessibility. In our increasingly digital world, the ability to access and interact with virtual environments is no longer a luxury but a necessity. The World Health Organization estimates that over 1 billion people live in some form of disability. That's around 15% of the global population who may face significant challenges when interacting with the digital platforms. These challenges can range from visual impairments to cognitive or motor disabilities. The question becomes how can we ensure that everyone, regardless of their abilities, can fully participate in the digital world? The answer lies in artificial intelligence. AI has the potential to break down barriers and create more inclusive virtual environments. Let's explore some key areas where AI can make some significant impacts. Natural language processing. It is a technology behind voice recognition and speech to text systems. This is incredibly valuable for people with hearing impairments. For example, AI driven tools can provide real time captioning for video calls or webinars or other live events. This enables the people who are deaf or have hard time hearing to fully participate. And computer vision is also another branch of artificial intelligence that allows the machines to interpret and understand visual information from around the world. So, for people with visual impairments, AI can analyze the images and videos and provide detailed descriptions of what is on the screen. Imagine browsing a website where AI reads out loud the contents of the image and making the internet more accessible than ever. There are adaptive interfaces as well, wherein the AI can tailor digital interfaces to meet individual needs. For example, an AI system might automatically adjust font sizes, change the colors or the contrast on the screen, or simply navigate to make a website easier to use for someone with cognitive impairments. Mm, while the potential of AI in enhancing accessibility is vast, there are challenges and ethical considerations that we should address. Data privacy is the main thing, as AI systems often require large amounts of personal data to function effectively, which raises concerns about privacy and security. This is particularly important when working with vulnerable populations, such as individuals with disabilities. AI can also have biases. AI systems are only as good as the data that they are trained on. So, if the data contains biases, the AI can produce discriminatory outcomes, potentially worsening the barriers that we are trying to remove in the first place. And also, advanced AI technologies can be really expensive and may not be accessible to everybody, particularly in the developing countries. So, it is essential to work towards making these technologies affordable and widely available. Looking to the future, the role of AI in accessibility is incredibly promising. We can expect AI to become even more sophisticated, moving from reactive tools to proactive solutions. Imagine AI that anticipates your needs based on your habits and preferences, or one that instantly adapts a virtual environment to be fully accessible as soon as you enter it, regardless your disabilities or abilities. As AI continues to be integrated into everyday devices, accessibility features will become standard. So, the shift will ensure that everybody, regardless of their abilities, can fully participate in the digital world. In conclusion, AI is playing a crucial role in transforming virtual environments to be more inclusive and accessible to everybody. While there are challenges to overcome, the potential benefits are immense. As we continue to develop and deploy these technologies, it is our responsibility to ensure that they are used ethically and inclusively so that no one is left behind. Thank you for your time today.
Hey y'all, it's Jamera Scott, the founder of No Code for Change, and I am so excited to talk to you today about something that is not just this cool fab, but it can actually change the game for our communities. No code artificial intelligence. Now, don't let that AI word scare you. You do not need to know how to code, and you definitely don't need a fancy tech background to use it. With our no code platform, you can start building powerful tools right now. And guess what? We should be the one leading the way and making sure those tools benefit us. So let's talk about it. Now, what is no code AI? Basically, it's technology that lets you build smart apps, automate tasks, and analyze data without needing a code. There are platforms like Bumble, Make.com, Airtable that gives you everything you need to create these AI-driven solutions just by dragging and dropping. So whether you're running a nonprofit, a small business owner, or just trying to solve a problem in your community or household, no code AI can help you make that happen. Think of it as your secret weapon to creating change. Fast and with the zero technical experience. And the best part, we as a community can be both the innovators and the beneficiaries of these tools. Let us use these tools to uplift our people and tackle the problems we face every day. So why does this matter? Let's be honest, technology is shaping everything we do these days, from healthcare to education. Tech can help you solve real problems more efficiently, but often our community is completely left out of these conversations, but not anymore. In education, we could build an AI-powered app that customizes learning plans for students who don't have access to proper resources. What about the justice system? We can use AI to analyze data and expose trends in housing discrimination policies and practices. In your local business, you can create automated systems to handle customer service, recommend products, and forecast sales. All this can be done with no coding. The key is we have to step up and create these solutions. No one knows our needs better than us. We're the only ones that can make sure that the tools actually benefit our people. So how do we actually get started? Let me walk you through a couple steps. Step 1. Identify the problem. First, think of all the things that's missing in the community. Better access to education, more efficient healthcare, small business in your area need a boost. Identify the challenge you can solve and trust that this is the foundation to everything. Step 2, choose your tools. There's 1,000 of them out there. You can go from Bumble and Glad, which are great tools for building apps with AI features. Lobe, perfect if you want to train AI models without touching a single line of code. Make.com, ideal for automating workflows like sending notifications and analyzing data. So pick your best tool and then we can get to work. Third is to train your AI and set it up. Don't worry. Most of these platforms have pre-built models, which is typically templates. That means that you can just drag and drop, plug in data, whether it's a school performance, small business sales, community healthcare needs. The AI will start working for you. Customize it as you see fit. Step 4, deploy it. Finally, put it out there. Whether it's an app, a report, a tool, make sure it's easy for our community to access and use. Gather feedback, improve it over time, and watch how your work starts to make a difference. Now let's talk about some real examples. These are actually the types of things we can do with no-code AI. In healthcare, people have used no-code AI to build chatbots that help residents figure out healthcare options. These chatbots are available 24/7, answering questions and even booking appointments. Just think about what that could mean for our underserviced community. In education, a group of high school students developed an AI app that identified tutoring needs. It tracks students' performance and recommends personalized learning plans based on where they needed help the most. These are just a couple ways that AI is being used to create positive change. But here's the thing, we need to own this space. We need to be the ones driving these innovations to ensure that they're truly helping our people. We need to be the innovators, but we also need to be the beneficiaries to no-code AI. So to wrap up, no-code AI gives us the power to create solutions that can change the game. You don't need a tech degree or a fancy background. All you need is the drive to make an impact and the willingness to learn the tools that are already out there. We can use AI to address the unique challenges of our community that we are facing every single day, and we are being completely overlooked. Whether it's improving our education, whether it's helping your child, whether it's you creating an app for your child to help them tutor in math, whether it's helping with a companion chat box for your grandmother, we can be the ones that benefit from it and also become the innovators. Thank you, and follow me on LinkedIn, Jamira Scott.
And this is the conclusion of our Day 2 GatherVerse AI Evolve Workforce and Education Summit. As quick as it came, it's as quick as it goes. You've heard today and yesterday a multitude of different expressions that come at the intersection of emerging technologies and humanity for our 24th Global Summit. What does this mean as the way forward? I'm taking a few moments to talk about the death of the workforce and traditions as we know it. Does it mean the disruption of the workforce is completely gone? No. In fact, the workforce of civilization will grow to be as strong as it's ever been because now it's AI powered. We don't speak as AI like it's a deity or something that's greater than all of us. Really, it's a measured and controlled source that comes from us. But it's unruly, as it was expressed yesterday by Elena, that in the invention of fire, it was put to use for good, and the reality is that fire could be put use for bad. We are that generation. We are that generation where AI has come upon us. For decades past, men and women have wrote about the times that could happen, the times that could come, the times that will arrive to our doorstep in the pantheons of innovation. But it's this generation that abides here on earth today are the ones that are the first movers and adopters of this powerful type of AI. AI is not new, but the distributed models of what we're seeing, known and unknown, are new. As we continue to move forward with extended chain of thought reasoning and more compelling diffusion type models and pairing that with the metaverse, a virtual ecosystem of interaction and communication, the XR community is building and other different technologies, sectors within the eco habitat are arriving. And they're not arriving as things that we've known, but they're AI powered. We've never been this way before. And in this world of frontier intelligence where we find ourselves today, where will you stand? As workforce and traditions, the old ways of everyone having to hop in a car or some type of public transportation and ingress into vast metropolitans and metropolis cities to go to work for the day, with 2-hour commutes and going back and forth. So much of those days are done. We're in a hybrid workforce economy. We've become more virtual in the past 50 months than we had the past 50 years, and we're not going back. What will we do with these new findings of innovation and explorations of technology? How will we put it to the better use? It was just expressed today that, listen, if we are going to see AI and other capable models of technology and robots and more disrupt the workforce as we know it, then we must put something in its stead to make sure that the people that help build this system, to build this foundation, to be made whole. Lastly, when we look at disruption and we look at generative AI, when we look at the type of generative and degenerative states that we find ourselves in, remember, when anything's generating, there must be a degeneration that comes from progeneration. That's right. While something is being adopted, something is left behind. As we continue to go forward, what are we leaving behind? And can we afford to leave that thing behind? It's one thing, everyone, where we leave a former technology behind. This is the natural way of technological disruption itself. But it's a whole thing altogether when the thing that we leave behind isn't an iPhone, it isn't a desktop, a tablet, an HMD, an older headset. It's people. That's right. The technology that we're engaging in at this level in applied science, the thing that gets disrupted the most is us. And with GatherVerse, we simply cannot stand for that. You heard from a cadre of different experts from around the world, both women and men leaders, people that come together in heart power. You've been hearing us for the past 24 summits, and you'll continue to hear from us more if we're able to. If we're able to keep going and climb the mountain. We can't do this alone. We don't want your money. We want something more important than that, more valuable than your money. Keep your money. Keep the funds you have. We want your time. And we promise with GatherVerse, in this new workforce era of education that we find ourselves in, that we are authoring and that we're paving a new way. We promise that with the time that you give us, it will be well spent, and we'll always keep in mind how precious it is, because we know that you'll never get that back. With GatherVerse, there's value. With community, with one planet, we're not attempting to be a multi-planetary species. We're dealing with the planet that we've been given since day one. We're all in on accessibility, education, equality, community development, safety, privacy, wellness, ethics, and humanity first. This is no game for us. This is no joke. This is serious. It's never been more serious. This isn't a fringe conversation. This isn't a fringe topic. You will know that there were people in this life and at this time that stood for something more than just modern innovations and unicorns, that wanted something better, not only for ourselves, but for the generations to come, that will pick up the baton of what it is that we hand them. Oh, what will we do with the time that's given? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Share this, because we can't do this alone. GatherVerse isn't Christopher Lafayette's. GatherVerse is all of you. And our gather was well. And then the next time that we're able to ride together and to meet and to be with one another, at that time, may our gather be well. Thank you.
Tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform, the other foot on the trail. Going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain. Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God